Welcome back to Easy English Conversation. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah. And today we are talking about something that I think is genuinely going to change the way you speak, the way you present yourself, and honestly, the way people see you.
That's right. Today's episode is all about how to speak like the top 1%. And before you think this is about sounding fancy or using big words, let me stop you right there. It's not. It's about something much deeper than that.
So, whether you're learning English as a second language or you've been speaking English your whole life and just want to level up, this episode is for you. Stay with us.
Okay, Sarah, let's just jump straight in because I think the biggest misconception people have is that elite speakers are elite because of their vocabulary.
Oh, absolutely. And I get why people think that. You hear someone confident and polished and you think, wow, they must know so many words. But actually, if you pay close attention, most great communicators use very simple words, very direct sentences.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly. And the first thing I always notice about a truly confident speaker is their pace, the speed at which they talk.
Talk about pace, because most learners, especially non-native speakers, they think speaking fast makes them sound fluent.
And it's the opposite. Speaking fast actually makes you harder to understand. It makes you seem nervous. It makes you seem like you're not sure what you're saying.
But when you slow down, something interesting happens. People start listening more carefully. They lean in. They take you seriously.
And this is not just a feeling, there's real psychology behind this. When someone speaks slowly and deliberately, our brain registers them as calm, as in control, as trustworthy.
Think about it. Every person you respect as a communicator, every great speaker, every successful leader in an interview, they are never in a rush.
They pause, they breathe, they let their words land.
Which brings us to the pause itself, because the pause might be the single most underrated tool in communication.
People are so scared of silence. The moment there's a gap in the conversation, they panic. They say they say they say just to fill the space.
But a confident speaker welcomes that silence. A pause says, I am thinking. I am choosing my words carefully. I am not rattled.
And here's a practical tip for our listeners. Next time you're in a conversation and you don't know exactly what to say next, instead of filling that gap with filler words, just take one breath, one slow breath, and then speak.
It feels awkward at first, I promise it does, but to the person listening to you, it sounds incredibly confident.
It really does. Okay, let's talk about something else. Word choice. Because even though we said it's not about big vocabulary, the words you choose still matter enormously.
Right, and the shift I want people to make is away from vague language and toward precise language. Most people speak in very general terms. They say things are good or bad or fine or okay.
But a 1% communicator is specific. Instead of saying the meeting went well, they say the meeting ended with a clear decision and everyone left aligned. Do you see the difference?
Completely different image in your head.
Specificity builds credibility. When you are specific, people believe you know what you're talking about. And honestly, it makes you more interesting to listen to.
There's also something to be said about eliminating weak language, phrases that undermine your own point before you've even finished making it.
Like what?
Like starting a sentence with, I'm not sure, but, or this might be wrong, but, or sorry, this is probably a silly question.
Oh, the unnecessary apology. This is huge, especially for non-native speakers, because there's often this anxiety about making a mistake, so people pre-apologize before they even say anything.
And what it does is it tells the listener, before you've said a single thing, don't take me seriously.
So the fix is simple. Just make the statement. Just ask the question. You don't need to apologize for having a thought.
Now let's talk about listening, because this is where I think most people are really missing something.
People think communication is about talking, but the best communicators are extraordinary listeners.
And not just politely waiting for their turn to speak, actually listening, absorbing, processing.
There's a difference between hearing someone and actually listening to them, and people can feel that difference.
When you truly listen to someone, you remember what they said. You respond to what they actually said, not what you assumed they said. You ask follow-up questions that show you are paying attention, and that makes people feel valued. It makes them feel seen, and there is nothing that builds rapport faster than making someone feel genuinely heard.
The 1% understand this. In a room full of people trying to impress, the one who listens most carefully is always the most impressive.
Let's talk about eye contact and presence, because even in a podcast, even in audio, presence matters.
When you're present in a conversation, when your whole attention is on the person in front of you, it changes your voice, it changes your energy. People can feel when you're distracted, when you're thinking about something else, when you're half there.
And they can feel when you're fully there, when you're completely engaged. That quality, that full presence is magnetic.
So even before you worry about your grammar or your vocabulary, just practice being fully present. Put the phone away, look at the person, listen to their words.
Let's get into something that I think is really powerful for our English learners specifically, and that's storytelling.
Oh, this is such a good one. The 1% don't present information, they tell stories, because facts are forgotten, but stories are remembered.
If I tell you that stress is bad for your health, you might nod and move on. But if I tell you about a friend of mine who ignored burnout for 2 years and ended up in the hospital, you remember that.
Your brain is literally wired for narrative. We've been telling stories around fires for thousands of years. It's how humans process the world.
So when you want to make a point, don't just state it, wrap it in a story. Give it a beginning, a moment of tension, and a resolution.
And the story doesn't have to be long. It can be 3 sentences, a micro story. I was in this situation, this happened, and here's what I learned. That's it.
Even in professional settings, even in job interviews, even in business meetings, the people who tell stories stand out.
They're more memorable, they're more persuasive, and they're more human.
Which brings me to the final point I want to make, and it might be the most important one of all.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. You can have perfect grammar, you can have a rich vocabulary, you can speak slowly and tell great stories. But if you're performing, if you're pretending to be someone you're not, people will feel it.
And the 1%, the truly elite communicators, they're not performing. They're just very clear about who they are. They know their values, they know their perspective, and they express it without apology.
That confidence, that groundedness, it's not arrogance. It's actually a form of respect for the people you're talking to. It says, I trust you enough to show you who I really am.
And people respond to that every single time.
So let's bring it all together. Slow down your pace, use the pause, be specific with your words, drop the unnecessary apologies, listen like it matters, be present, tell stories, and above all, be real.
These are not things that happen overnight, but every conversation you have is a chance to practice one of them, just one, and over time they become natural, they become you.
That's how the 1% got there, not by being perfect, but by being intentional every single day.
Thank you so much for listening to Easy English Conversation. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who's working on their English or their confidence.
We'll see you in the next episode. Keep speaking, keep growing, and remember, your voice deserves to be heard.
Take care, everyone.